Alright. Today is the 35th anniversary of the Jean-Claude Van-Damme film, Death Warrant. I didn't know anything about this film when it was first released. I learned of it because my brother rented it. I only caught it in two areas. First, when Burke is going to prison for the undercover job, and at the end, for the final fight. Some time went by, I just wasn't interested, but then in the late 90s, I suddenly wanted to watch it. Mom took me to Blockbuster, I rented it. My brother wasn't home, but unfortunately he had the VCR, and I wasn't interested in taking it out of his room and putting it in my room, so I just went in there while he was out, popped it in, it was all fuzzy, took it out, blew in it, put it back in, it played. Then I watched it. And then I ended up buying the movie on DVD back in the early 2000s. And, well, it's not my favorite Van Damme film, but it has my favorite Van Damme fight. Now, the story is Van Damme plays Burke, a cop who's out for revenge against the guy who killed his partner, the Sandman. Of course, this is only for the beginning. He goes in where he finds out the Sandman's hiding. Three tough guys show up. He takes out two of them in the cool action guy way, where make him look like a tough, let us know how bad and tough he is. That he can easily drop two of them in one punch, and the other one goes running away in fear. Then he goes to the lair of the Sandman, finds a dead body, searches around, opens up this closet, sees a doll, and then the Sandman emerges, played by Patrick Kilpatrick. He gets Burke with his knife, knocks him down, and then he tells him it's time to go to sleep like his partner. Only Burke picks up the gun, shoots him multiple times, and he goes down, thinking that he's dead. Okay, that whole issue with him was over with. I guess it was just for the opening. And then it's now 16 months later. Burke goes and meets with these people. They tell him about these murders going on in this prison and want him to go undercover. So he does. He meets Amanda, and who's going to be posing as his wife as he goes undercover. And when he goes there, okay, he meets the racist sergeant. I don't think he's a warden, but because he's just credited as a sergeant, played by Art LaForte. I'm hoping I said his last name right. You might remember him in the Blob for the I'd like to meet my dad. Rip. Yeah, that guy. He's basically showing them all that he's in charge. You don't do anything unless I say so. He cracks open some peanuts, drops his shell, looks down, and this guy bends down to go pick him up. He hits the guy. Then he does the same thing with Burke, but Burke doesn't do that. So he's like, you do what I tell you and I won't hurt you. Burke goes in, meets his new cellmate. I almost said snail. Guy tells me, do you pay? Or you, I think, punk? Burke picks him up off his feet and says, I don't pay, I don't punk. The guy just says, oh, I was just joking. No, you weren't. Okay, at lunch, Burke meets Hawkins. Hawkins gets threatened by this guy. Burke saves him. Burke tries to be friends with Hawkins, but Hawkins rejects him. That's when he meets these two tough guys. And when you look at them, you just know that they're going to be bad guys in the movie. They just have the bad guy look. One's the one with the long hair and mustache and evil face. The other one's the shaved on the side, mohawk, big body, well, not body, but big built guy. And you're like, yeah, I think these are too bad. Two of the guys he's going to be taking on later in the movie. Well, he meets with Amanda. He tells Amanda he needs money in order to start getting stuff down here because he doesn't know what's going on. All he knows is prisoners are being killed, and he's posing as the friend of the last victim. Now, she sends him some money against her boss's wishes. Burke uses it to meet with Priest. Now, his cellmate takes him to Priest. Well, first they go and meet Hawkins again. The guy that Burke saved. Burke doesn't want to talk. Hawkins doesn't want to talk to him about the murders. Neither does his cellmate. They do become friends, and he even shares him that I'm guessing that alcohol they make. I don't know what that stuff is, but it's described as alcohol. Okay. He goes and meets Priest, he gives him money. Priest gives him a key to the place, and he also learns about the guy who just died, the latest victim, his cellmate, Mayerson. I hope I say his name right. But of course, the guy that Burke beat up that was attacking Hawkins, he returns with his buddy Bruce. Bruce has got a chain as a weapon, which is really not that good of a weapon because every time he swings it, Burke keeps catching it and just keeps attacking back. Burke even breaks the old broom to use the weapon, but it doesn't last long. He defeats both of them. One of them he just smashes into a washer, then turns him on. Oh, goodness. Excuse me. It's really that ridiculous. Okay. Now, whenever he meets Meyerson, he grabs him by force and picks up a jar of urine and tells him, "You're going to drink this unless you start talking," because he wants to know what happened to that guy. And, I'm sorry, this movie is really silly. Okay, Amanda is working with this teenager who's the book smart guy who's trying to hack in, get the information. He's also making advancements on her. She keeps rejecting him, probably because he's too young and she's not attracted to him. Okay, I'm sorry, but I just got through watching the movie. All right, Burke gets a tip that he's going to be attacked, and but of course this is before I'm going too ahead. Burke does sneak into where he needs to be with that key, but he goes in through the laundry with Hawkins. Hawkins purposely puts in some of that alcohol, so when the guard pokes it, Hawkins pulls that out, and he ends up getting the guard to drink with him. Well, Burke slips out and goes into the record room, but whenever he unfortunately makes a noise, they go in there. Burke's now hiding on this other ceiling, but whenever I think blood drips off of him, Hawkins just covers it up with a cup, and then they leave, and they're like, "Oh, just nothing." Oh, goodness, I got way too far in my head. Okay, well, they find out the people that are getting killed were people that were healthy and had a rare blood type, and, you know, no drugs, no nothing. So they have to figure out, well, why were they killing them? But, of course, the guys come after Burke when they realize that, you know, he's on to them. And whenever he gets that tip, well, Burke makes a, you know, fake body in I'm guessing pillows in the bed while he hides underneath it. Unfortunately, Burke forgot to let his cellmate know that there was an ambush coming, and they end up strangling him to death with a piano wire, but while one of them is stabbing the bed, Burke comes out underneath it, attacks that one, but the other one gets away, and his cellmate dies. Burke's taken to solitary confinement. The sergeant beats him, then tells him to strip him, and they just let him sit there. And then, well, the two guys that he was sitting at the table with, of course, are the ones that attacked him in his cell, and they both go after the one that tipped him off, and now the guys who are being killed with a blow to the head by like a sharp, spike. And of course, one of them pulls out the handle, puts the spike on top of it, letting you know, okay, this is obviously the weapon. And then the other guy, Mayerson, he gets the worst death in the movie. They burn him alive while he's in solitary confinement. They get the gasoline, spray it on him, and start licking. I'm gonna grab the bed mattress and put it against the door or anything to try and stop that gasoline. Then they ignite him, and man, oh man, is it a horror. He's screaming and hollering, he's punching the window because he's desperately trying to get out, but then it just cuts away. Okay, Burke gets released from solitary confinement, and unfortunately there is a prison transfer, a new prisoner showing up, and this is, in about 58 minutes into the film, the Sandman finally returns. The Sandman recognizes Burke immediately. He gets his goons to restrain him in slow motion. They put the cuffs on him, put the chain, and they have the water sprinklers all over him. Sandman gets a knife and cuts his belly a bit, but he doesn't kill him. He just thinks it's going to be more fun to just let everybody know who he is. And he's a cop. because he knows prisoners hate cops. And, well, Burke does still find out, before this, he does find out that there are human body parts that are being smuggled out by the prisoners that are being killed. Now, when Amanda suspects this guy named Ben is the one doing it, he's, of course, the red herring character. Then the guy that she says is a father to her, Tom, he's the one who's behind all this. Mainly because his wife got sick, she needed a new liver, he could not use his money to get her on the top of the list, so he met with the doctor in the prison, and they did a little black market kind of surgery, or underground surgery, whatever you call it, killing a prisoner, getting his liver and putting it in his wife. And well, that's when he discovered how profitable the human body part is, and since he's killing prisoners, he's like, oh, who no one cares about them, but of course they have to be nice and healthy so the body parts will sell. When the guy's wife shows up, she's like, why don't you tell her how you murdered for her? And then after that, Tom is never seen in the movie again. He just disappears after that while his wife is looking at him with that horrified face. He has a gun in his hand, so I'm guessing he just went... Okay. Hawkins now knows Burke is not the friend of the guy that he said, the latest victim. And he also is aware that Burke is aware that his name is on the top of the list now for the new victims that are going to be killed for the body part transplant. And Tom did transfer the Sandman to the prison because he wanted him dead because his goons in the prison failed to kill Burke. So, basically, this is an action film that you really have to wait to the end before the really good action starts. There is some fighting before, and there's some fighting that tries to be suspenseful stuff, but in the end, everything that happens before the riot breaks out, when Sandman lets out all the prisoners, they do get Burke into an office where all the guys that are in on the prisoners being killed, and then Priest and Hawkins show up and save him, and he ends up knocking out the goon with the long hair and mustache with a kick that actually is more like a... He kicks, and then it almost fell over. And then it's like another take of a kick, just really spliced together really quick, so you don't notice. But well, to make it look cool and everything, it's like kick. It's like kick. It's funny because you're like, Van-Damme is not that fast, okay? It's really that funny. And then when they're running and hiding in this room, the big muscular guy shows up with a dumbbell. He hits Burke, he hits Hawkins, he hits Priest, and then he puts the dumbbell in Burke's face, and he's looking at it with this kind of like face. My friend of mine came by when he watched, he said he looked like a fish. Burke just starts rolling it down, gets him in the groin, takes it, and he just does that with him with his own dumbbell and gets him in the face. And then they're running, but then when the doctor is running, it shows the doctor running, he runs at all these crazy convicts, and they're holding lethal weapons. He goes, "You're just in time for surgery, doctor." Doc turns around, and like the more prisoners show up, he's screwed. And then after that, he disappears from the film. Okay. Okay, Hawkins, Priest, and Burke are still running. They get on an elevator, go to a lower level. Unfortunately, Hawkins gets shot. They throw a Molotov cocktail. I hope I said it right. They shut the door, lock it. Hawkins can't go any further because of his injury. He does the old, just leave me. The racist sergeant shows up. He basically has the shotgun. He finds Hawkins. He's getting ready to shoot him. And then he gets blasted from behind. He dies. He goes... And then he just looks at Hawkins for like, and then he makes that silly face, and then he finally drops, and of course Priest shot him. Priest then joins with Burke, and then when they're trying to get out of there, the Sandman shows up and gets Priest with an axe. And for the record, despite the fact that Sandman's supposed to be a deranged maniac, Priest is the only person in the movie we ever see him kill. We never get to see him do anything else except, well, kill Priest and fight Burke. That's it. Well, maybe when telling him and stabbing a knife in his belly, that's about it. Okay. Now we get to the final fight. The best part of the movie. And my favorite Van-Damme fight. Van-Damme goes looking for Sandman. And then he does that, come on, that issue where you see Van-Damme doing this and yelling, come on, in that boiler room. This is where that movie's from. So for all of you who still haven't seen Death Warrant, but you remember that those promos and those guys who like movies on TBS back in the late 90s, that's where that movie is from. Okay, Sandman throws this wrench and it gets Burke. But whenever that he goes down and is trying to get back up, that's when Sandman makes this. It looks like this is supposed to be his big reveal because it's done in that kind of way, but we've already seen him before. But now he's got a prison guard jacket on. He picks the wrench back up and he starts hitting Brad Burke. He hits him with it. He strangles him with it. Burke breaks free. Burke gets him. He gets him in the side. Then Burke finally kicks the wrench in his hand and Sandman just knocks him down, but then vanishes like he's a slasher villain. Burke goes looking for him. He goes to this area where there's this buzzsaw-like thing. Sandman turns it on, and whenever Burke looks at it, Sandman grabs the pipe and just does that swinging kick. And he grabs Burke, puts his face down. Burke does the old elbow, and then puts him down. But when it hits him in the back of the head, Sandman like laughs and screams at the same time. And then he gets him between the legs, grabs Burke, throws him over the side, and he goes falling down and lands. Dazed, but not dead. All the prisoners show up, ready to watch this big fight. Sandman comes down the steps while Burke is slowly getting back up and regaining himself. Sandman gets a light bulb. Wakey, wakey, Burke. Time to bleed. Burke kicks the light bulb out of his hand, and then we get the kick in the face with that multiple angles, and then the slow motion with Sandman falling down. They go right at it with those fists. Burke hits him more, but Sandman, he just will not take damage. He never feels pain. Even if he does showing, he always recovers quickly. He just fight back. He doesn't know martial arts, but he's still tough. But eventually, he gets the upper hand and slings Burke against the boiler door, making Burke, because it's a boiler door, so it's hot. It's hot. It's hot. He rips his shirt off and throws him, and then uses it to open the door. And of course, he's turning his back to Burke. And when he looks at the fire and turns around, he goes, "Welcome to hell!" But unfortunately, this just leaves him wide open for Van-Damme to do that jump kick in slow motion with the no shirt, bloody chest, hitting Sandman, making him fall right in. And you think it's over, but we all know it's not. Sandman yells, "Burn!" He then jumps out wearing a fireproof mask. You can easily see it. He does what he uses common sense while he's on fire. He stops, drops, and rolls to put that fire out. And whenever he's got it out, he just stands back up looking at Burke. He screams out, but he's just standing still. Standing there, and Burke just gets him with a standing sidekick, which shoots him flying back into the valve stem, which impales him in the back of the head. And as he's sitting there, he just says, "Can't kill me, Burke. I'm the Sandman." He then starts laughing, but Burke just walks up to him and until he finally dies. Since he killed the Sandman, the other prisoners allow him to leave. He refines Hawkins, brings him to safety, kisses the girl. The movie ends. Okay. Death Warrant is not Van-Damme's best. The final battle is great. The rest of the film is just mediocre at best. If I was Siskel and Ebert, I would have just given it a mild thumb up. I do like the film, but yeah, when I bought this on DVD, I watched the final fight a lot more than I watched the entire movie. I suspect there's a chance a lot of people probably did that. In the end, it still is fun. The one thing about the film that you're going to criticize a lot is the music, because it sounds like the composer could not make up his mind. The beginning for the opening credits is the best track in the movie. The rest of the film keeps going from superhero to Princess Bride to Friday the 13th to party. You're like, dude, make up your mind. But if you haven't seen it yet, I give it a watch. Even if you don't like the entire film, you're going to love the final fight. Because once again, I will definitely say it's Van Damme's best fight. And it's on my top 10 all-time favorite fights. And, oh man, that is a good, tough guy final battle. my own thumb up for the movie, but still 2 thumbs way up for the final fight. Thanks for watching, and Van-Damme, happy 35th anniversary to your film Death Warrant. The film that has my all-time favorite fight with you taking someone on.